We are going to make the cutest bunny centerpiece today, and she's going to be large and in charge, and we're going to make her, this one is in a wreath kit, or actually a centerpiece kit, so it's everything you need will be in the kit to make it. The only thing you will need to buy separately will be some floral foam, and I'm going to use a couple of, these are scraps that we have from leftover pieces from a big sheet that we had cut them out of. So I'm going to need that, and then we're going to be using some green berries that come in the kit. Then we're going to work with the cream green fishtail to create our greenery base. And for our floral color palette, we're going with all creamy white. We're going to use the cherry blossom bush that has all the good filler in it. I love that. And we're going to use 2 stems also. I need these for some length because we're going to do this design where it comes up on the back also. So she's going to be surrounded in her own cute little garden. So I've got a couple of these, and then lots of twigs this week, 3 twigs, branches. We're going to work with our artificial twigs so we can get a lot of dimension. And I think this one's going to be so much fun, and we're going to put her in her own garden. Now, she comes with this cute little bow on here. We can leave that on, or we can take it off. It's got some little bitty nails in there, and we can do something totally different around her neck, which would be cute too. Right now, I'm going to leave that be and keep it really neutral. That light pink is fine, and just keep it how it is. But we've got to get the foam in. So I'm going to take a little block, and we're going to keep it pretty low. So if we go right here, I think that would work fine. We don't even need it this big. We could cut it a little shorter. So that one's a little bit shorter. We can just use this one. So I'm just going to have it flush. Now I've got a little of this burlap ribbon, because I'm going to run a little piece of that on the bottom just to keep it really neat and clean on the bottom of the foam before I even put it on. So I'm going to take this and trim it off. Now you can't be running this all the way up too far up the sides, because you want to be able to put possibly picks in the ends. So just go halfway up the sides, okay? I'm just going to go old school glue here. I'm not going to do anything too fancy. We're just going to run some glue down here. Okay. And I'm going to run it down the middle. And then we just need a little bit on each side just to kind of hold it in place. This is what's going to cover that on the bottom. And just let it set for just a second before you push into it, because it kind of can melt the ribbon just a little bit. Give it just a second. And then we're going to come behind, gently push it down. All right, and that's going to be ready to go right there on the edges. Now on the very edges, and to help hold this in place, we can put a pin or a floral pin. Usually a regular stick pin goes through better. I'll try a floral pin, but sometimes they're a little hard to get through the ribbon. But just, oh, it went good. Yay. Just pin it in to make sure it's holding it. So now we got a nice finished edge for on the countertop, okay? I do want to put some Gorilla Glue on the bunny first. Generally the wood hot glue does fine, but it just seems if I use the combo, I got a great backup plan. So I'm going to go ahead and lay her down flat. All right, and down here is where this is going to go. I'm going to try to line that up as close as possible. So like right here to here. And we're just going to do like a nice little zigzag of the Gorilla Glue. That'll be my backup. And then we'll put the hot glue just right on top. And this is kind of a formulation I developed when I was just selling tons and tons of wreaths online. And I started doing a lot of stuff on metal because that dimension was so much fun and did so well for us. But you have to be careful that the glue doesn't pop off the metal. So that's where this whole idea came from. So I'm going to wiggle it down into place. We'll let it set there. And then I'll go ahead and stand it up before it gets completely set, because I want to make sure it's going to come down enough to hit the table. And now I'm just going to let this sit to start to dry like this, kind of on its side, so I don't get any drips on the table of my Gorilla Glue and all that good stuff. Okay, so while that's setting up, we're going to go to the back side of her and do the back side of the designs. Just flip her over. And now this piece is going to go up here, kind of where the little manufacturer tag is. See if I can get that off. There we go. That's the EPA stuff. If we can just kind of cover that right here, that would be great. Now, I'm not going to go so low this time, because I'm making this one-sided, because she doesn't have a face or anything on this side. So it'll be perfect if this could go like right here. Down a little bit, not down as far, but kind of mid-thigh is where I'm thinking, right in here, okay? So I'm going to go right over where the tags were with a nice little zigzag here of my gorilla. And then we'll dip it in the hot glue and we'll get her set up on this side. So think about your design and the structure you are using and how you want to kind of set up the foam where you use, you know, you want to use the least you can, and you know, make sure you think about that positioning before you glue it on. Now, if a bunch of hot glue pokes out and is dripping, okay, all you got to do is just come in and put some foam on it. But I'm going to flip this and let it just sit like this to set up. And then our back foam is ready to go too. And like I said, if you want to keep the budget tight, I can just cover this whole thing with a little bit of the burlap ribbon and just have flowers coming out of the top. It looks neat and clean and polished, and it still looks great from one side. In our case, I think I'm going to try to hide this with some floral, and we'll see how that works. Okay? Just a little bit. And then we're going to cut everybody to their full stem here, okay? And I'm going to do this with one bush of fishtail. We're going to start off with one bush, setting the perimeter, and then we're going to hold our other bush for coming in doing the design work more towards the center. So our first one's going to occur right here at the center of this block of foam on the front. Okay, that's our number one. So what I want us to do is just start by putting, choosing a center point, which I'm just going to go right down the hip, and we're going to put one piece of greenery into the right, and then I'm going to put one into the left. That's just a simple start, okay? So that gives us some height here. Now we're laying her in. We're giving the design, oh, she's in a garden immediately, right? Because there's foreground we're creating. I'm going to scoot her over just a little bit so I don't melt this into my glue pot. And I'm going to come right down and just have these kind of lay right down onto the table. It's a little hard to see because it's green on green, but it's right there. So that one goes on the right of the transition. This is going to go on the left. I'm going to give these like a little movement forward and have them going out over the side over here. Okay, and we're going to push it in a little. There we go. And so I kind of got these equal on either side. We've got very lush cherry blossoms to go in here and lots of twigs, but I want to start somewhere with the greenery. Now let's go to the back. And on the back, I'm going to be pushing into the foam right here. You can see here. But I'm going to try to always design it from the front right now on camera so you guys can see what I'm doing so you don't see the back of it. So these are going to go straight up right now in the back. So I'm just going to put in one in the middle. Okay. And then we're going to have one kind of come back just slightly. So kind of arching back. So you see this one. So instead of really, you kind of have a transition point at the center and then these come back and forward. But not as strong. I still want this kind of coming up in a V shape. I hope that makes sense here in the background. These lighter color greeneries are hard to see. But before there's anything else added in, but just right there. Okay. Now this one could even kind of cheat through later if we wanted to. And kind of come through right there. Oh, how cute is that? You see it kind of cheating through up here by the neck. That's beautiful. Long cherry blossom sprays. And we're going to take and shake hands with them like we always do, manipulating the leaves a little bit forward this time because I need her to show pretty from the front. She needs to face this way. She's got great leaves on this one, so I want to make sure I maximize that. I'm going to tighten up this cluster a little bit, and then we're going to cut off the stem where it's only about 4 inches. We're using the whole stem in one piece here. And I'm going to put this in this V that kind of comes between the two pieces of fishtail we already have in. So I'll just twist her a little bit to the side so you guys can see. I'm going to load her with a little glue. And when you're pushing heavier stems in, make sure you're holding on to the foam. We don't need to like try to knock off the foam. We just put it on there. So you see how pretty it is? This kind of, it looks a little bit rogue in this picture, but we're going to have a lot of twigs in a little bit that are going to balance it out. So it went up about 6 inches higher than the greenery in this case. Because our twigs are going to kind of come and be higher. Now we're going to take our other cherry blossom, and I broke it down where I kept the top two parts together right here, and I cut that piece off by itself. So it's cut into two sections. And we're going to work this taller piece over here kind of between her ears. I love the ability to work between the dimension. That just helps and creates more depth. So I'm going to go between these two. And then I'm going to put her right in here, pushing it in. And then I'm going to see if I can just slide this one between the ears. And maybe this one just kind of come forward, down, in front. Okay, so I'm still kind of working forward. Yeah, really cute. Now what I want you to do with the last piece that you have is we're going to try to work it right here. And this one's going to go to the right side of the transition, over to the right. And we want it right in there. Now you might have to work with the length of the stem, like it's a little bit too long. I'm going to trim it down just a little at a time, so I don't have to go back and add a stem to it. Saving a step. This one's going to go on the right side of the transition, so it's going to move over. And I totally hit 3 leaves going in there. I should have just turned it around. I'm trying to get it where you can see what we're building. Okay, so this is looking neat and clean here on the back. Very good. And then this piece, I just want it to kind of come forward a little bit. These are such pretty floral. Oh my gosh. So pretty. So look at what we got going on in the back. Isn't that beautiful? We have all the cherry blossoms. Like she is popping out of there right now. Okay, we did great back there. Cherry blossom bushes are very easy to tear down. So that's one of the benefits of these guys. So I took and shook hands with each stem a little bit already, and now I'm breaking them down into shorter. I'm tearing them because I want them to be longer, okay? Anytime you want to save the length, if you will tear the stem, generally you can save the length on it. This is the center stem of the bush that's stronger. It doesn't really tear down anywhere from there, so I'm going to trim it off. So after we've tore everybody down, now we have to get their stems all neat and clean-ish by pulling off the paper. That's kind of not staying neat. And this one has a white stem and a green stem. So a lot of times, unless you can hide this, you would want to cut it off. But we're going to try to hide it in like the background of the design. So I'm not going to cut them quite yet. Once you do that, I'm just going to get rid of our little bit of garbage. And I'm not trimmed them yet because I want to start to lay it out. So I'm going to take 2 of the pieces that are going to go on either side of our transition that we created with the greenery previously, and start to spacing them out. I know I'm going to need 1 in each foreground on either side, so we can totally take and trim these short. Right here is fine. I'm going to need 2 of those. So I want them to be a similar size, which these are pretty much identical, so I can just hold them up to each other, trim them opposite. And you can always keep these little wires to little tie things together and stuff like that, so hold on to those to use them for something else if you need it. Now I'm going to take and shape this dude out just like this too. And we're going to put 1 on the right and 1 on the left. They're going to go more into the front of the foam, not on the edges right here, okay? So kind of push it in, and it's going on the front of the foam right here, right at the transition. We're going to do 1 on the left now. Okay, so we're going to start to fill in, and we're filling in flat to the table. You got to go a little bit higher because you've got a stem going in there. They can't be identical, okay? Now my next 2 are going to go right between the greeneries on either side. So I'm going to take another bush, and we're going to put this one aside. We'll take another bush and tear it down, because I need matchy-matchy pieces. That's okay. That's why we're going to use a couple bushes on this one. Here's our main stems. And then I will trim a couple of these down. And we're going to kind of come up from there. Isn't that pretty? And shape it out. Oh, man. So these will come right between right here. And this all stays nice and pretty and low. We don't need it up high, okay? I want it to go between those 2. And here's this one. So right here, and it's coming between those. So you see what a pretty garden we're automatically just putting her right in. Just so cute and pretty. Okay, we're looking fantastic. Now, I want to save a couple of pieces for the back side of the design, because I wanted to kind of cover a couple of pieces around, potentially use these around the foam in the back. So I'm going to put these aside. Now what we want to do is we want to work with our center stems off the bushes and work those tight to the design here too. So I'm going to trim this off. So these are those thicker pieces of each bush, and these can easily break down into a couple of sections, and they have a nice strong base wire. So you're going to end up with a pick just like this. And this one can go right in the middle at the transition. Just pop in right in the middle. And then we don't have too much. I don't want to compete too much with this. I want to see her body there. But then we can use these pieces to kind of fill in down here at the base. So I'm going to come in just right filling in the middle. And then we're going to come on the left. We'll do the same thing. And this stem I'm going to break down into 3 sections because I don't need the height for the middle. We covered that a minute ago. Okay, so here's 2 more little fluffy ones. And we can put these in there. So really quickly, we've been able to kind of break down those bushes. We're going on the left and right of the transition and just filling right in here. I'm going to take this small baby one and go to the left. Oh gosh, so pretty. And let's just put this one right in the middle. Now we still got berries and twigs to go in, and then we got to finish our mechanics in the back. But really, if you wanted to keep it super tight, super neutral, you didn't want to pop all the brown like we're about to do and make it more full, this could be a total stopping point. You would just need to come in with moss and cover your mechanics of your foam and hide your foam on the back with some ribbon and some moss. You could stop here totally. That would be fine. But of course, we're taking it to the next level, and we want to bring in a whole bunch of twigs to really make her pop. Let me not knock her over. But she's definitely in a garden. She's definitely adorable. You're going to grab, Blue Merinos, we got to grab all of our twigs. They're going to all go in next. These are going to add that big drama, which gives her that fun, like, I don't know, it just makes her look so dimensional and gives you all this depth and makes you feel like, oh my gosh, spring is popping out. These branches are going to bloom. These are just beautiful twigs that, you know, that the new growth is coming. I don't know. It's just that the depth of the brown, and it picks up the rusticness of the bunny and the brown on the stems of the cherry blossom. It's exactly what this design calls for. Now, what I have to do is break these into 2 sections. Generally with this stem, it's pretty easy to do it. You do a cut here below and a cut right here, and you get 2 stems of 2 branches, and you get all that fun depth and dimension and drama that we're talking about even from those cuts. So here's one. One will be a longer stem when you cut it, and these will be a little shorter, okay? So I want you to do that with all 3 of your twig stems, okay? And we're going to separate them right now. So when we do that, I'm going to take all the long ones and put them in a pile. Let's see, longies and shorties. This is a shorty. This is, you can tell they all look pretty similar. The shorties are here, and the long ones, is that the right long one? I'm like all confident, and then I'm not. Well, they all have cuts. This one doesn't have a cut. There you go. They're kind of similar. The shorties you're going to put aside. We're going to use the shorties on the bottom. We're going to use the tall ones all on the top. So I'm going to separate them first. Now I'm going to move it just a little bit forward. We're going to start to create that real big drama coming. So step number 1, we already kind of have a line going with this bloom popping out the back, okay? So we want to continue that. And I'm going to take this and give these a little bend out to the right, a little bit. They're going to go right here. And then I'm going to turn this to the side just so I can see where I'm putting it in, not glue myself. And this is going to go right here, kind of mimicking that line. Careful when you push it in, you don't push too hard. So your first twig, you can see how pretty already that is. It just adds so much interest, and that's going out to the back. Okay, next twig. So I'm going to put that right through here. I'm going to get some glue, rotate her around, and we're going to come through the dang ear. I can wiggle her back through the ears in a second. I think if I try to get it through the ears hot glue, I'll just have a mess. So the first one I want to come all the way under is the plan. Come in here, buddy. I think. Or maybe it goes through the middle. Let's bring the first one through the middle. I think that's more of what we were thinking. Let me turn it back around. Okay. That's fine. I like this coming this way. I'm going to give it a bend. This one's going up a little high, so I'm going to make sure it bends over too. So make sure it kind of comes down. Not too harsh of a bend. Go light with that wire in there and just get it a nice little curve. Because I want it to kind of pop over her head and then this go here. Oh yeah, perfect. So we got the drama going on. I love the twigs. We got 2 twigs in the back. All right, so I'm going to give this a good bend before I even get her in. She's going to go in right here. I love this fun neutral color palette. You can just use her for different things too. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. And this kind of comes over. So I'm going to start off with my front set of twigs, like the one we used in the middle. And this one's just going to kind of shoot up towards the front. Okay, so I'm going to just take and give them a little motion to the left because I don't want to compete straight up. We're going to, this, if we say this is a triangle this way, this is going to be a triangle this way. So they're alternating. And that's going to give you good placement on these and not get too heavy on the twigs. They're heavy, but not competing against each other in the lines. Okay, let's go this way. Beautiful. Give it a little motion down. She's so pretty. Okay, now we're going to do our back one, which is just slightly. We want it to kind of meld with this. So when this comes out, these kind of work together. Okay, so that's what I see going. These are going to be just a little bit of tighter curve because I want them to sit inside that curve. I love this. She's looking great, guys. Let's bring it down in here. Oh my gosh, perfect. So now I've got a repeat. I've got like a little bitty cool cavern going on here. Now, up towards the front, what you may not be able to tell right now, even though this is part of this triangle, it's working with this. So when we bring that third one out, we want to go a little bit more out forward, which is what we talked about before. So I'm going to just definitely take these and give them a bend. And I'm going to slightly go a little bit lower, and I'm going to give these a little bit of a flat turn so they're a little bit lower down here, okay, on the front end. So when I turn, it's just for me to put placement in. I'll turn it back so you can see. These are going to go a little flat from this front corner. And look how pretty. I love her. All right, we're not even finished, but she looks great. And she's very dramatic. And she's in the garden just kind of busting out. So we've got some berries to put in. And we definitely have to finish with our greenery to kind of fill her out a little bit more. So we're going to grab our berries. And we picked out the lime green. These look great with this because they have that frosted look. They're going to pull out the pretty bright green from the leaves and everything. These come where they're clustered like this. Just take and cut that off, and then we're ready to work with them individually. Now, these, like a lot of berry stems that are wired and like premium, if you can open them up a little, basically you're just going to get a little more bang for your buck and spread them out. They have a good leaf in there. We're totally good with it. And we're going to, our plan is I think we're going to put 5 on the front and just 1 on the back because the back is just going to be a little bit of coverage. And these are so pretty. So I think we'll plan for 2, a centerpiece, and 2 on the right. So we're going to start with a couple of them that are a little bit high kind of coming out. So I'd like for it to come between the berries right here. So I want you to kind of measure the stem and see what height you need. Because we have a transition point running right here, you know you're going to have 2 on the left, 2 on the right, then you'll have 1 in the middle to kind of make it a nice placement. Okay, so here comes my first one, and she's not really tucked in. She's out here high and proud and loud. I need to hear her crunch really good though. There you go. Okay, her first one's in. Now I'm going to put my same one on the right now, okay? It's going to go right here to the back hind end. Right here. And there's a lot of stems in there, so if you hit one, you got to move it. Okay, so I'm going to rotate that just a little where that leaf's up a little bit higher. See, they're not identically same spot. All right, let's do one a little bit lower and long and kind of coming out a little bit. I'm going to give it a curve forward. So you see me curving it forward before I put it in. Right down there. Remember, it's okay to cut a little longer. That way you don't have to end up adding a stem. Or you can push it a little harder into the foam. This one's going to go right here. It's going to go back just a little bit. So it kind of comes down, and one more back here. Okay, let's come over here on the right. It doesn't have to be identical. You can just kind of play in the same kind of ballpark. It's fine. Come right here. Pretty. Bending it forward just a little bit. There we go. And this one, I'm going to bring one down a little. I don't love things identical, so you're going to see me kind of, they're going to be in that placement, but we're going to move them a little bit. And my last one in the middle. And then these berries will be in. This one I'm going to make a little shorter because I don't really want her flying out the front. She's going to go right here. Okay. And now, take a second to pull the cherry blossoms back in there. You can tighten up the heads a little if you don't like them quite so open. That's fine. Oh, but I like that airiness that creates too. Look how pretty. Now she's loaded with berries up down here at the bottom. This berry's being saved for the back, and these cherry blossoms are going to go in the back. So that's going to be a little surprise area back there. Now, I need to utilize fishtail fern up here to fill in, to like break up this middle design here. So what I want you to do first is take 3 of these stems, push them up shorties, and where they're kind of short, but they're wispy like that. Okay, see them? And we're going to cut these to just, let's go 4 inches on there. And I'm going to bring them in. And we're going to just go between, I'm going to go 1 right here between these stems. So I'm going right in front of where we put a stem of twig in. There's 1. Now this one back here. So this one needs to go to the left just a little bit. And it just kind of balances that out a little, guys. And you don't just see like a harsh stem going into the base. Pretty. Then our third one's going to work right down back over here because that's where that brown stem is, okay? That's the one we kind of put on its side, so move that forward this way. I think that's so pretty. Okay, and you go in there. All right. Oh, that looks excellent. So I might want 1 more piece of fishtail kind of working forward. If I take 1 more, it'll still leave me 3 for the back, so I'm okay with that. Let me take 1 more. And we're going to move this one towards me. Right here, just kind of coming out the center. Okay, we made it nice and wispy. I want to show you at an angle how pretty that looks now. So here's what we got going on the front. Nice and wispy and full, and then the twigs kind of making that fun little playground that way, and then these kind of coming forward. Okay, we're on the back side where we have our small block of foam. We could have cut this a little smaller, but you run the risk that it's too small and then you could possibly break it. I feel like it's a little bit safer keeping it a little bit bigger, okay? Now, I'm going to take my cherry blossom stems that we had left from earlier, and we're going to cut these all super duper short into super duper small sections like this. I'm going to get the other one. And we are going to use these to kind of cover up the majority of the foam block and make this a nice little fun cluster back here on the back. So I'm trimming everybody really small. Now what we want to do, and what you might consider doing, is also just kind of sticking some in and letting it kind of drape down like here. So I'm going to take a couple of pieces and make sure they're pretty short and put them in. So it kind of saves you some time, and I'm going to put that with some glue, and we'll just come in here to the right. And now I made this little bitty bouquet that just tucked in there, and it's kind of going over the foam. Now, if you want to, you could take and cover it with ribbon and then have everything come out the front. That'd be okay too, but I'm going to try not to. I'm going to try to just keep it all natural back here. So I'm going to do the same thing, make these into little bitty stems by twisting and then cutting. Okay, now I'm going to come on the other side here, right at the front. So they're covering up the foam by draping over, but I'm not sticking them all into the foam to hide. I'm going to cut this eucalyptus a little shorter right here, and then we'll push some of it in right here. So it's a little bit of detail work back here, but you can find this fun when you do small little pieces. They can be kind of, I don't know, therapeutic to some extent to get into the little detail work. All right, let's come on this side. Push this piece in. I'm going to bring that fern down, let that kind of hang down. Because we can also just take a little Spanish moss and hide that. No problem. So I'm going to twist this around. We're going to go ahead and cut that eucalyptus shorter right now. Trim it. Come on this side. Now I'm going to work on this little side. Here, I'll zoom in a little bit. You guys can see. I got a little bit of white berry here, so let me make sure I get some here. And the nice thing is if they do use this on a table, it's finished on the back. See, in that case, I forgot to twist it first. So now I can still do it, but it makes more sense to do it first while it's all tied together. But I like finishing the backs a little bit more polished sometimes, just so that it still looks good, you know. And this will look like a little bouquet just on her hip on the back. It'll be no big deal back here. Okay. And now, if you pull this all up, you can see a little bit of foam there. So I will put a little Spanish moss tucked in around there. Or I will come and trim it with my ribbon, so it looks like a little burlap basket on the back. Either way. Okay, so you can see here. Whatever you want to do. But we covered up all the mechanics of the glue up here. And she looks good, good. Now we've got a little berry cluster for her to have back here. I got one more piece I'm trimming down. Cutting down my eucalyptus. Let's go over here on the right. Be careful when you dip these, they're so short. Yep. Oh, that's cute. Oh, the leaf came off. You little booger. That's okay. We've got one more piece. I'll put it right there. All right, so that's looking really cute and finished. All right, now I'm going to add my little berry cluster right in here, kind of up a little higher because I've got a lot of branches going on. So we saved one for there. She doesn't need to be too tall, just right about there. And just pull these forward. She's going to go in right there. There you go. Super duper cute. So we created a little arrangement right here on the back of her hip. Now let's turn her back around. I'll open the camera back up. And what I want to show you is where we're going to add a little bit more greenery to the foreground. She looks so adorable, guys. And you don't have to do that kind of detail work on the back, but I really feel like that type of thing always helps you stand apart and give a really clean, neat, finished product. Okay, I'm happy. This looks great down here. You can see how cute she looks from that angle right here. She's adorable. I want a little bit of fishtail, like shorter down here, kind of poofing out of that zone. So in that case, I want the stems up a little, but I still need to cut them really long because I got to get down to the bottom. So I'm going to trim these off long like this, and then let's bring it in. I'm seeing if I need to cut it down more is all I'm doing here. Gotta turn it around, y'all. I think it works. Okay, so I'm going to take her on a little bit of a spin, but I think she works right here. I'm sorry if you can't see exactly what I'm doing, but I'm going right where the twigs were, and then I'm putting this greenery in front of the twig, matching that curve. So, see, it came out right here, right between it. Okay, my next one, I'm going to have it kind of go right here because I'll lose a lot of it if I try to comb through the ears. So we're going to have this one go right there. And I know I'm going to have to cut it a little bit shorter, so I'm going to push it up a little bit more. And it has to have a pretty big bend because she has a hip we're trying to get over on the other side too, which makes this so stinking cute. Yeah, right there. That'll work perfect. Let's bring that in right there. Let's see if I can do that from the front. I don't know what I'm thinking. I got to turn it. Oh, I come through the front, but I got to watch and direct it because I'll just hit the hip and then I'll just have glue everywhere. There we go. Yeah, that's good. Okay, she's coming. Yep, right there. And then my final little piece is going to be, because I'm working in this little quadrant right here. It's hard to see when you guys are coming from above. I'm just going to do a short little piece right here that just fills in right there and it pops over. So it's just going to be a nice little cluster. Yep, and I'm going to keep it on a long stem. That's why I love this particular greenery. It's just so good, especially for this spring work where we can just fill in. And it needs a little bend because it's got to get over all of that. So I'm going to take one hand, come here, bring her forward. Hey, dang, she's so cute. I love this neutral collection we've been working on. Okay, I'll try one more time. There we go. She needs to go in a little tighter. I think I'm hitting another stem. Yep. There we go. Okay. Let's turn her around, and now I filled in right there. Oh my gosh, so cute. So I did not change out the bow. I left the bow. I thought it was pretty simple and subtle. But I will tell you something that's very cute. If you just want to make the design on the back, or you just want to make the design on the front, you can do that. You can take over here and take this bow off. You can just use some pliers to pull it off, and it will tear off. You'll be able to pull that out, and you can make her a little bow right here if you don't want the metal. But I think it works just fine with our design. And she's dramatic, but she is soft and sweet too. So if you're a seller, you want to play with some more dramatic pieces, this is a great piece to try. If you want something like this for your home, it's super duper cute, and you can lead her into whatever. Like here, she's leading over into my cute little cherry blossom tree, and she's going to look adorable under it. You know what I mean? Adorable! Go have fun with flowers. I know you can do this. Bye, everybody.